Hey everybody, it's Janice with Creating Through Chaos, and today we're going to make a watermelon welcome sign. So I'm going to start off with this piece of wood that I had. It's 17 inches long by 6 inches wide, and it's stained with dark walnut stain. This welcome cutout from Hobby Lobby, it was $3.99. A bunch of ribbons that coordinate with the colors of the watermelon and paint that I'm going to use. Some twine. 2 greens, a light and a dark. You'll need 2 reds. I picked up 2 apple barrel reds, 2 different shades, white acrylic paint and black acrylic paint, and you'll need 8 wooden beads. So the first thing I did was drill some holes in the top corners of my sign. Next, I'm going to take the light and the dark green, and I'm going to work on the watermelon bottom. So first I'm going to paint on the dark green paint. And then I'm going to add some of the green lighter color to it and just sort of blend it. Now this can be done any way that you want, just as long as you're blending the 2 colors together. So you can make it darker or lighter, it totally is up to you. So as you can see, I'm leaving some of the bottom half of it with the darker and just adding the lighter green on top of that. Then I'm going to come in with a little bit of white paint. And I'm going to add that just to soften up the lighter green to an even lighter color green. And then I'm just going to blend it all together. And not once have I changed my paintbrush. I'm using the same paintbrush for all 3 steps. So you're just going to keep blending until you get the color that you like and the blend that you like. You see how that's kind of like 3 or 4 different colors there? Next, you're going to do the same thing with the red paints. I'm going to add a little more white. I didn't feel like it was light enough. I'm kind of creating a barrier also for the red. So next, I'm just going to take the same paintbrush I just did the white with, and I'm going to dip it in the red, and I'm going to paint the whole top half of the sign. And I'm using the darker red for this part. And it's okay if you get it on the white at the bottom. That's totally fine. And you're just going to cover the whole top with that first dark red color. Next, I'm going to take the other color and go right over the top of all of that red. So the lighter red over the top of the darker red. And then touch up the green a little. And you're just going to mess around with this. You just keep messing with your colors and adding and taking away. Add some more white if you want it lighter. Add darker if you want darker. And just kind of mess with blending it all around. I even used my finger at some point to blend some of the paint. Now I dipped some of the white into the red, the lighter red, and kind of made it like a little bit of a pink color. And then I just took a dry brush and went over that and then rubbed my finger over it just to blend it all in. And this looks like a hard process, but really it's not. You're just going to play around with the colors until you achieve the look that you want. So again, I'm just going over with a little bit of the darker red and the lighter red mixed together. And just keep blending until you get the desired color that you want. And I think that's perfect. I love the way that it looks. I'm going to take a little bit of the pink color and again go over the very bottom with a little bit of pink. And then I'm going to blend it all with my finger. And that's it. Look how cute that looks. Doesn't that look just like a watermelon? So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to paint my welcome sign. I'm going to paint this white. And I only did the top, I didn't do the sides. Now I'm going to set that aside also to dry. And now I'm going to paint my beads. Now I just slipped these on some paintbrush handles to hold them because I'm not doing very many. So I'm going to paint 2 beads with the dark red. Then 2 beads, I used the lighter red and added a little bit of white to it to turn it more of a pink color. Then I'm going to do 2 beads the dark green and 2 beads of the light green. So I painted these all the light red color, and then I'm just going to come back in with a little bit of white and go over it and make it a little bit lighter. As you can see, it's sort of like a pink color. Then the next 2 will be the darker green and then the lighter green. And then I'm going to set those aside to dry also. Next, I'm going to take the black acrylic paint and a small paintbrush, and I'm just going to paint teardrop shapes all over the red to represent the seeds. So all I did was just paint very small teardrops. And you can do as many of these as you want. Spread them out throughout the whole top of the sign. I just added them where I thought was necessary, and I think it came out super cute. Next, I'm going to make a X-bow. So I took 2 pieces of burlap and then just added ribbon. You want to use burlap for your base. And then I just sort of crisscrossed all of the ribbon colors that I wanted to use. So I used some greens, some pinks, some reds, some white, a black, and a lot of polka dots. I have a lot of polka dotted ribbon. Next, I added some green raffia, and I just kind of pulled it all apart. Added that on top. And this is going to be sort of messy bow. Then I'm going to add some of the regular raffia. Then I'm going to take a piece of twine and tie it off in the center. I'm just going to run it across the top and flip it back over. And before you tie it tight, make sure that all of the ribbon is facing forward. So you're going to push it so it pushes forward. Then I'm just going to tie it in a knot. I'm going to leave that twine on there because we're going to use that to tie it onto the sign. So now I'm just going to mess around with it and pull them to where I needed them to be. And then I'm going to trim the whole bow. I'm going to trim one side. And then I'm going to trim the other side. And there you have a super cute little bow. And again, you can mess with it and make it how you want it to look. Next, I'm going to string my twine through one side of the sign. And I'm just going to tie it in a double knot to hold it onto the sign. Then I'm going to start stringing my beads on. So I started off with the light green. Then I did the dark red, then the dark green, and then the lighter red. And then I did it for the opposite way on the other side. So then I'm going to add the beads. I'm going to do the green, the red, the dark green, and then the pink. So it'll be the opposite on the other side. I didn't want them to match completely. I wanted them to be the opposite. So I'm going to run the twine through the other side. And again, I'm going to tie it in a double knot. And I made sure I left myself enough slack to hang the sign. I'm just going to double knot it so that it doesn't pull through. And then I'm going to trim off the excess. Isn't this turning out so adorable? Next, we're going to take that welcome cutout and we're going to hot glue that right to the center of the sign. So I figured out about where I want it. I'm just going to run a bead of glue along each letter. And then I'm going to center it and glue it down to the center of the sign. How stinking cute is this turning out? Next, I'm going to take that bow that we made earlier, and I decided it needed something for the middle, so I had a half a bead, and I painted that black and stuck it in the middle. I thought that would really pull out the color of the seeds because there really is no other black anywhere on here. And it pulls out sort of a few of the colors in the ribbon. So I'm just going to kind of make my bow back into the shape that I want it. I'm going to take the twine that we had left on the back of it, and I'm going to tie it to the center of the twine that we're using to hang the sign. Now, you can choose to put the bow wherever you want. This is where I want to put it. So I'm going to double knot it right to the center there. And it's also going to hide whatever I'm hanging it on. So if I have a hook or a tack or a nail, you won't be able to see it because it'll be hidden by the bow. But you could certainly pull the bow over to the left of the sign or the right of the sign, or you could hot glue it onto the sign. It's totally up to you. You could forgo the bow and not use one at all. But I really like the bow. I think it just brings everything together, and I absolutely love the way that this turned out. How stinking cute is that? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this inspired you to make one. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. Please don't forget to spread the chaos.